Okay, so Love Is, Chapter 6. We are talking about the movie Love Jones. So, love is poetic, okay? When we talk about God and how He communicates with us through His words, you think about some of the poetry in the Word. You think about Proverbs and the Psalms, and specifically out of Proverbs 1 and 6, it says, "For understanding proverbs and parables, the sayings and riddles of the wise." It has me thinking about, or let me continue. "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction." A lot of wisdom and instruction that we get from the Word comes in songs and parables, and it's just the way in which God constructs the Word for us to be able to understand. It's so poetic, and that's how He moves. Like, He is poetic and so divine. And it just brings me back to the movie where you've got Nina, you have Darius, both writers. Darius is a poet, and it takes effort to write a poem. Not only that, just having been a writer myself, understanding how poetry of all things is the most vulnerable thing you can ever write. Right? Poetry, it's so revealing, so vulnerable, so personal, of all the things I've ever written, at least. And I commend anyone who puts themselves out there and shares their poetry, because I know how nerve-wracking it could be. And I've seen so many, maybe not so many, but I've seen some unique ways people share their poetry. It's just so beautiful. And God is the same way. He is so divine, so purposeful, so vulnerable with us, right? When we allow Him to be. It's so beautiful. A relationship with God is just so beautiful, just as beautiful as poetry could be, but it takes effort, right? So Darius shares a poem with Nina right when the movie begins, and she's flattered, but she's not flattered, right? She's like, okay, that's a cute poem, but you talk about sex. What about love, right? And, it just brings it back to me. It brings it back to God and how we allow God to love us, and in turn, how we love ourselves. And when we love ourselves, it's easy for us to love other people, right? So, yeah, God is poetic. The movie, I found to like the movie more nowadays that I started writing poetry back during the pandemic, and I've been able to see during my walk with God how poetic He really is. He is so divine, and a divine enabler, and serendipitous, and just miraculous, you name it. So go watch Love Jones if you haven't in a while, and just be reminded of His majesty and His poetry in and out of the Word, right? It's not always in the Word. It's just like you live enough life, you see His hands in everything, and it truly is poetic. So